So you're watching a Dayton, Ohio pro and con video. That means you're probably actually making a decision and you're not just curious. So let me tell you something in the first 30 seconds that's actually going to change everything about how you evaluate this. My name's David Moyer. I'm a real estate agent here in Dayton, Ohio. I have been for well over 21 years, and I work in the communities that people actually move to. Places like Oakwood, Centerville, Kettering, Beavercreek, Springboro, Lebanon, you name it. I've been there. I've helped people move there. I'm not here to sell you on Dayton. I'm here to give you what I give every single relocation buyer that I work with. By the end of this video, you'll know the actual real pros and the real cons and what they mean for specific communities you actually live in and the single question you should be asking before you commit to this area. So let's start with the pros, but I'm going to give you the asterisks that every other video leaves off. So right off the bat, let's start with the pros, and the pros are real. Each and every single community has a very specific qualification that changes what it means to be a buyer in that area. So let's talk about exactly what there is in terms of affordability. When I talk about affordability, there is definitely affordability, yes, but in which part of Dayton? If we're talking about Dayton in general, let's talk about Dayton proper. Dayton proper is actually downtown Dayton and the immediate area around it, which is around $132,000 in terms of the median sales price. That's definitely very good. But if you go out in the suburbs, we still call that Dayton, even though you might be in an area like Centerville with a median sales price around $325,000 to $450,000. Wildly different, but still called Dayton. So the actual pro here is that compared to what you'd pay in Columbus or Cincinnati or the coastal markets, you're actually getting a lot more house here in Dayton, Ohio. A $400,000 home here is not a $400,000 home in Columbus. That comparison alone is why it matters for relocation buyers that are coming here. Location is legitimately underrated for people that are looking at the greater Dayton area. A 2-hour drive to Columbus, a 45-minute drive to Cincinnati, 2-hour drive to Indianapolis, around a 4.5-hour drive to Chicago, 4-hour drive to Pittsburgh, 4-hour drive to Cleveland. You can get to all those areas so quickly. So if you have family spread across the Midwest, Dayton is a hub. It's a launch pad. I've said this before, and this never gets enough credit. Now we can also talk about Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and how much of a job foundation that provides here for the area. Wright-Patterson actually provides close to 38,000 active duty civilian and contractor employees. It's the largest single site employer here in the state of Ohio, and that's a verifiable fact you can check. Dayton also ranks number 3 in emerging tech talents and markets in the entire United States. That's what keeps people coming and going on a regular basis in our Midwest town. And as a matter of fact, the Sierra Nevada Corporation, they're actually adding new hangars to the Dayton International Airport this year and a new aerospace investment in the region, which continues to add stability to the region. So cities with huge federal defense anchors, they don't have the same boom, they have huge booms. I've talked about it before also. What keeps us really stable here as well is the 5 Rivers MetroParks. 16,000 plus acres of parks, trails, waterways, 30 plus locations. And for a city this size, it's really, really exceptional. You can go kayaking in the Great Miami River. You can go biking. You can go hiking. It's genuinely competitive with a lot of the larger metro areas. As a matter of fact, even more so. Now, these are all pros. Let's talk about the cons. I'm here to be your friend, not just your realtor. I'm going to be direct with you because you deserve that before you uproot your entire life and come to my town of Dayton, Ohio. So yeah, believe it or not, I'm going to talk about the cons of coming to the greater Dayton area because you deserve to know both sides of this. Let's start with some of the crime statistics, because if you're Googling what are the crime statistics in Dayton, this is what you're going to find. Crime. It's the most misunderstood con in terms of the city of Dayton. Dayton City, overall, the crime rate, I'm not going to lie, it is 77% above the national average. That's a solid D+ grade. But that is real, and I'm not dismissing it. But we have to talk about where that matters. Beavercreek, for instance, the overall crime rate there is an A+. It's one of the lowest violent crime rates of all of U.S. cities. Centerville, in Ohio, which is south of downtown Dayton, is the number 4 safest suburb in the Dayton metro area per niche in 2026. So if you also look at places like Oakwood, which is right there next to downtown Dayton, Oakwood is consistently cited as one of the safest communities in the entire region. And the reason I frame this is because no matter where you go in the country, there are going to be pockets here and there that are going to signify how the entire city gets labeled. So when you Google City of Dayton this and that, it is encompassing the entire area, and of course, the bad headlines can come to the surface. So I'm giving you the actual nuances here. The crime data that shows up when you Google Dayton crime is driven by specific neighborhoods in the city core. It doesn't describe the communities most of the relocation buyers actually end up in. So I'm not saying ignore it altogether, right? But I am saying look at the crime data for the specific zip code that you're actually considering, and then go from there and make your decision. Let's talk about weather too. This is a big one. Legitimately, it's rough. It's not great. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Dayton averages about 140 cloudy days per year. That's almost half the year, cloudy. We have really, really bad winters. Snowfall is common November through March. That's almost half the year right there. You need a snowblower or a service if you're going to live here in Ohio. Summer air quality, not so great. Dayton receives low rankings for summer ozone layers, not going to lie. If you have respiratory issues, it's a real factor. But on the flip side, if you like seasons, if you're coming from the south, actual fall foliage, actual snow, spring green, Dayton, we have all four, and we have all four all year. If you're dependent on a car too, this is non-negotiable. You got to have a car if you're living in the area. Public transit is very, very limited. The RTA runs, but it's not the most reliable service. Cars are the way to get around the area and the way to commute. Every community that I work in requires a car, 2 cars for most households, especially if you have kids. This isn't unique to Dayton. It's what describes most of the Midwest if you're moving here. Schools, districts, not cities, that's what matters. Dayton City Schools versus Oakwood City Schools, Centerville, Beavercreek, they're completely different systems. So make sure you go on to the Ohio State report card systems, compare them back and forth. They change from time to time. Verify them before you move here. Dayton school averages are meaningless for a buyer choosing a suburb. So make sure you research the specific district before you come here, not just Dayton overall. Here's what Dayton is not. Dayton's not Columbus. It doesn't have that restaurant density. It doesn't have that nightlife energy, that big city pace. Columbus is 75 minutes away, and some people drive there for that. So if you need that big city amenity within 10 minutes every single night, Dayton's going to frustrate you a little bit. So be honest with yourself. If you're coming to Dayton and that's what you're optimizing for, think twice. So, what does all this mean when you're looking at specific communities? And this is actually where things get a little bit interesting. Now, I can give you some more specifics about some of the areas that I focus on a little bit more than others. One of the more premium neighborhoods in the greater Dayton area that I like to talk about a little bit is Oakwood. Oakwood is one of those premium areas. It has a little bit higher price point. The school system is excellently rated year after year after year. That's actually a reason a lot of people move there. They will suffer the high taxes that are there because they want their kids to go to Oakwood schools. When I say high taxes, I mean high taxes. Go ahead, look at the taxes, pause the video. I'll be here when you come back. So, but it's great. It has a walkable feel. The village is there. It's right off Far Hills. It's nationally recognized. And essentially the crime issue, very, very low, non-existent for the most part. So if you want top shelf suburban experience and you can stretch your budget, that's where you're going to find it. That's where Oakwood's really going to fit for you. After that, we have Centerville and we have Kettering. These are kind of neck and neck in terms of the suburban feel and what they kind of offer. This is kind of like the bread and butter of the South Dayton suburb area. The price points here, combining the two, $239,000 up to around $380,000. If we're really looking at a median of the two combined, it gets you solid housing stock with good schools, good safety. Centerville has a lot more newer developments and more retail. Kettering has slightly more character and variety in terms of housing age. We go out a little bit to the east. We have Beavercreek. That's where Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is. A+ crime rating, growing retail, a lot of commercial use. It's a community where there's a lot of military relocation buyers that end up here, and for good reason. It's still affordable. It's relatively affordable compared to national averages, and so you get a lot of bang for your buck there, which is great for our PCSers that are coming there to Wright-Patt. Even further south, we have Springboro and Lebanon. Back to back there, more land, more new construction, more of a small town feel. although they are big towns. And they're good for growing families that want some more space. So the trade-off there is you get slightly longer drive times at Dayton proper, probably closer to around 35 to 45 minutes. So when I talk to a relocation buyer, the first question I ask is, do you want to live in Dayton? That's the first question. And here's why. What matters most in your daily life? And then we match that to a community. The pros and cons of the area are not one size fits all. So we actually start with what matters most to your family, what matters most to your lifestyle, and then we go from there. So there's the one mistake I see relocation buyers make each and every single time, and I want to address that mistake before you make it as well. So at the end of the day, the relocation buyer's real question is not, is Dayton good? That's not what you put into your Google search, right? Or that's not what you put into your ChatGPT or your Claude. It's which community in the Dayton area fits my life. So reframe that decision and make that what you're looking for when you're going into watching a video like this or calling somebody up before you make that decision. So here's some of the mistakes. You simply go online and you're searching Dayton pros and cons, and that's all you're looking for, and you're making a decision based off of city level data. We talked about that. You can't just look at surface level data for the city of Dayton. It's because you're not just choosing a city, you're choosing a zip code, you're choosing a school district, and you're choosing a commute and a neighborhood feel. The people who are unhappy here are the ones that chose a community that was mismatched, not a city mismatch, right? And the crime conversion, this is exactly what we talked about. Just because it says Dayton doesn't mean south of town or north of town or east of town is going to be the same. We say Dayton even when we're 20 miles out. So I know you Googled Dayton crime and you saw a D+. Here's what you do with that. Go to crimegrade.org and search the specific zip code that you're considering. Beavercreek's numbers look nothing like Dayton's numbers, and Centerville's look nothing like Trotwood's. Use the right data. So it's the boring stuff, right? But I'm trying to be honest here with you. So depending on what you optimize for, if it's a good weekend, it means it's a nice patio here in Dayton. Food you can get to in 10 minutes, green space for your kids to run in, and if you're not spending $3,000 a month on housing, Dayton's really good at doing all of that. If you need late night options, a really dense food scene, a walkable urban core, Columbus, that's 75 minutes away, and it's worth knowing about. So here's where all the happy residents are. They came in with clear eyes and clear conscience. They picked a community that fits their lifestyle and their budget, and they knew exactly what they were getting into. Not the cheapest option, and not the most famous neighborhood either. They weren't surprised by the weather. They knew exactly what Ohio had to offer. They knew about the car dependency or the smaller city pace. So if any of this is resonating with you or scaring you, or if you're seriously thinking about making a move here, here's the most useful step I can offer you. I work with a ton of relocation buyers and PCS military relocation buyers coming in from out of state. Like I said, military families transferring to Wright-Patterson, people moving from even Columbus or Cincinnati just here for affordability. And a lot of times they're moving here for affordability and they're still commuting back to Cincinnati or Columbus. And the thing they have in common is they didn't just go onto Google and Google Dayton this or Dayton that. They had one conversation that helped them figure out which community fits and what they're actually looking for. So if you're in that research phase right now, the best thing I can offer you is a free 30-minute call and consultation, not a sales pitch. I'm here to help guide you along the way. I'm here to be your friend in real estate and your Dayton friend, right? Not me trying to get you to buy something, just a conversation about which communities in this area match your priorities. The link to schedule that's in the description below, so if you're ready for that, go ahead. If you're not ready for that, that's totally fine. Just make sure you subscribe to this channel, share it with somebody else who maybe is looking to educate themselves about the greater Dayton area too. Check out the other videos in the series so you can learn everything there is to know about the Miami Valley. So I got full breakdowns about everything, no matter which direction you're going in the greater Dayton area, what your budget is, what the different communities are, and why people keep making the drive from bigger cities and keep coming back to Dayton, Ohio. So the people who are the happiest in the greater Dayton area, they didn't stumble into it, they chose it on purpose. So I hope this helped you figure out whether it's the right choice for you. Thanks for watching.